future problems by looking at the past, in the sense that actually we're moving towards far more vehicles being electric and not polluting at all.
OK, now let's have a listen to a bit more from the full council meeting. And this was, this is especially for you, Kevin Cahill, because this is all about Stoke Lodge and whether a fence is a structure, which did seem to amuse quite a lot of people in the public gallery at the council meeting. And it starts with, I believe it's one of the campaigners from We Love Stoke Lodge, talking to the Mayor, Labour Mayor Marvin Rees, and actually what had happened was that they weren't really supposed to be debating it because the council legal advice said that because there was some other legal action going on, they probably shouldn't be talking about it. But anyway, they did anyway, and this is what they were, one of the a little clip from what they said.
I've seen people come together across bigger divides in the world. I
have brought for you tonight a copy of the lease, and I've highlighted the relevant phrase for you. The lease between Cotham School and the council for Stoke Lodge Plainfields prohibits the erection of any buildings or other structures at Stoke Lodge. Consent from BCC is completely irrelevant. It would require a deed of variation, and there isn't one of those. So, my question is, does it surprise you that your officers apparently think that for some reason unknown to normal English usage, a 1.5 kilometre long, 2 metre high metal fence that's concreted into the ground is not a structure?
Yeah, I mean, the team have taken legal advice and it's deemed not to be a structure. I mean... I initially come back. What I'm saying is, okay, one is about the approach, right? We talked about the need to be able to sit around the table with people and have a conversation. If the culture has gone to that, whereby when I just inform you that the legal advice received by our officers said that the fence is not deemed to be a structure, all right.
On a point of order, why am I being denied confidentially to see that council's advice? As a ward councillor, I've been denied it. I have written and said I promise to sign a form that I will keep it totally confidential, but I've still been denied it. You're gagging us.
So that was from last week's full council meeting. Stoke Lodge campaigners and the mayor basically saying, well, I don't have to tell you what my legal advice is, but a fence is not a structure and we don't need to alter the lease.
No, that is completely wrong. The precedents in common law are that a fence divides a property or properties, and a fence is, in precedent, a structure. It can depend a bit on what kind of, a one-wire fence, you might be able to talk it out. But if you're talking about what they're talking about, that is a structure in English law.
Paul, why is it that Marvin doesn't want to share this legal advice? Is that normal? Because it would have thought that anything that just doesn't sound logical needs to be shared in order for him to be publicly accountable about the decisions he's making.
I mean, sometimes when you get legal advice, that legal advice includes, how public or not you can make it. It does seem to me, though, that it might take some of the sting out of this issue if the local ward councillors could see the legal advice that's been received. I don't know the reason for why that's been kept from them. I must admit that not speaking on this issue particularly, but in terms of legal advice generally, is that sometimes you get the legal advice you ask for. So, most people, when they go to a lawyer, they don't say, is this right or wrong? They say, how within the law can I do X? And that's certain, I've had to use the law sometimes.
Well, maybe in public life, if you're not getting the legal advice you like from your lawyers, you might decide you want to...
Well, I actually had to do that. I mean, on one of the things I wanted to do within housing, our in-house lawyers said that it would not be legal to do it. I knew other councils were doing it, so unfortunately I had to pay a fee to go outside to get the legal advice to tell me I could do something that I knew I could do, but which my internal lawyers were telling me I couldn't.
It's just an opinion, really.
This is one of the obvious reasons why people try and hide legal advice, usually because it's wrong. And in this case, Tony, it sounds as if the advice is wrong. They're trying to say a substantial structure is not a fence is not a structure. I'm sure that legal advice was different. It probably did say.
I mean, what was it with the wider issues, Paul Smith? I mean, it's not real. This is city council land, public land, and surely there is a case for it being shared with local people, particularly when there's nowhere else for them to go, and Cotham School. But even Ofsted apparently have said that Cotham School can share the land. It's not a problem for Ofsted. So why is it that the local people are being shut out? There's obviously lots and lots, massive strength of feeling with hundreds, if not thousands, of people in the area starting to get rather irritated.
I mean, it's very difficult for me to comment on legal advice, which I haven't seen either, so I don't know what that legal advice is and what it says about its confidentiality. But if I was the ward councillor in Peter Abraham's position, I would probably be very keen to see it myself too.
Kevin, what about this sort of process? Is there anything that you can advise locals to do in order to actually retain access to this park?
The basic thing is to get, when somebody is hiding something and bringing in confidentiality over the disposal of property, usually they're trying to hide something that is wrong. So the first thing is insist on seeing the advice, and then most solicitors do conveyancing and they know the basic rules about fences and structures. It should be very easy to establish that a fence is a structure unless it's a single piece of wire or something.
Well, another piece of news this week. It's amazing. Central government are doing some things that aren't Brexit. MP